Hi, everyone. My name is Shamananda. Welcome to episode 16 with John Atkinson. Hello, John!
What's up, everyone? Happy to be back for episode 16 with you guys. Super excited to kick this episode off. All about gratitude, you guys. What are you, pause for a second, what are you grateful for right now in this moment? I want to ask you, Guru, what are you currently grateful for?
Oh my gosh. Uh, it's a long list, but I guess I would say that I'm grateful that I have my health. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful that I have a bed to sleep in. I mean, absolutely. I could go on and on and on. I'm grateful for absolutely everything. I think about it constantly. I'm grateful that I have a car. I'm grateful that I have, I have sustenance. I'm grateful that I'm able to do these live streams, that I'm alive, that I have animals around me that animals are such a blessing. So there's just so much. I think the key in gratitude is understanding that there's different types of gratitude that we should be aware of, and different categories. So one is the mundane things in your life, and being able to get in there and actually be grateful for the things that you might take for granted, such as brushing your teeth or sleeping in a bed or having clothes that are clean and stuff like that. So, and I definitely am all in that all the time. I definitely feel that all the time. And next are experiencing the things that maybe you'd naturally be grateful for, which are the things that are more obvious. Maybe you're really grateful for your family, or maybe you're grateful for, uh, you know, your significant other, or your dog, or and then the next category I think is one of the most important, which is being grateful for the things that are really challenging and really difficult and hard and painful. So being grateful for illness, family illness, or difficult times financially, and going through really hard things with different people. Like maybe you have a hard boss uh, that you're dealing with. John talks about it all the time. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He doesn't. He loves his boss. I said that because I know she watches. She watches these episodes.
Oh man.
Hi. I can't wait to meet you in person, by the way. Anyway, so, but yeah, being grateful for difficult work environments, and what it's teaching you. Maybe it's teaching you that you get to get out, and maybe it's teaching you that you get to understand what self love is. That you maybe it'll teach you self discipline. There's a lot of different things. I mean, it's a huge subject, really, but anyway. So I think about those categories all the time, and I put them into practice, and so for me, we could talk for a million hours about every single little thing that I'm grateful for, but probably would be better to get into other things.
I love that. I love you sharing that. I wanted to start that out in terms of our viewers is asking our viewers, when's the last time you've been grateful for something? And I think it's more than, things of, hey, I'm grateful for this or that. It's really, I believe, taking a moment out of your day to pause and really soak in that moment, soak in that present moment of what we're truly grateful for. And so I wanted you to share, so we talk a lot on here about the four bodies, which is the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. How does gratitude impact the four bodies, with your clients, or, with the collective, and kind of dive a little bit deeper on that and the impact, through our traumas. I like that last part, how you brought up is people sometimes aren't grateful for the hardships. And I know you've helped me come to realize like those are blessings and miracles, and to be grateful for those moments, because a lot of times those moments catapult us to great moments and pivotal moments that we've changed or we've done the work and we see the light at the end of the tunnel. and we've come out of that moment to help others, and that's what we're here for. Especially that's what you and I are here for these lives, is helping the collective, raising consciousness to think outside the normal box that people open up daily. So kind of expand on how you help your clients with the four bodies in regards to gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Well, gratitude is one of the most important teachings that exists in spirituality, and part of the reason is because you're what you focus on, you create. So if you're focusing on things that are detrimental to your health all the time, if you're focusing on scarcity and feeling sorry for yourself and victim consciousness, then you're going to bring forth all of those things. So part of the reason why gratitude is so important is that if you don't focus on uh, what what you're grateful for, what you feel good about, what and blessings, and bringing forth more blessings, it's going to stagnate. And so the idea is that the more you focus on those types of things, the more you'll propagate. So that's why it's really important to focus on them on the daily. And you had asked how it affects the four bodies. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it affects your physical body in a way of, hey, if I'm focusing on the things that are you know, like, am I going to die? Am I sick? What's wrong with me? And then you're focusing on all of the illnesses that you could possibly have. If you're a germaphobe, if you're a controller, if you have a hard time with the different physical manifestations that are going on in your body, if you're just really afraid all the time, you're literally going to create an illness at one point. You're going to hurt yourself. You'll call it forth. It's just the law of creation. It's the way it works. But if you're focusing on all the reasons why you're healthy, and you're letting your unconscious and the universe know, listen, I want to call forth all the things that are going to make me healthy and live life to the fullest, then you get to focus on them, or you're going to call forth things you don't want. But so anyway, so physically you can bring on disease, especially if that's what you're focused on all the time. And different ways you can physically call forth disease actually goes into the mental and emotional body. So if emotionally you feel as though your self-worth is very small, depending on your iconography and your belief system, then you might be trying to prove yourself right all the time, and by cultivating those thoughts all the time, continually. And if you're doing that, you're cultivating and populating different thoughts that will actually manifest all of those things to come true, because the whole point of this existence is to bring things into creation and manifest them, because we're all master manifestors. So if that's what you're thinking about, that's what's going to happen. So if you're emotionally thinking about different aspects of who you are that is not worthy, it does show up in the physical body. So rage will show up in your liver, as an example. If you're having problems moving through things in your life, you might be having issues with your colon. There's a lot of things that'll happen to the heart depending on what's happening to you, especially if you're feeling like you're not getting the love from others that you feel like you need to survive. And things can happen to your thyroid and your throat if if you're feeling as though you're not using your voice. I mean, these are generalities, and everyone is going to be. If we're going to get specific with everyone, we get to analyze it in a specific way. So these generalities might not fit in with your unique situation. So if the things that I said don't fall in line, it doesn't mean that it's not germane for whatever you're going through. But these are just examples to support with understanding how it will manifest in the physical body. Generally speaking, it does get complicated depending on the case and what's happening and all of that stuff. But it does manifest in all the bodies, including the spiritual. I mean, if you're lying to yourself and telling yourself you're not powerful, your spirit is going to say, is that what you want to create? It's not true. But I mean, if that's what you want to create, of course I'm going to manifest that for you. And it'll, bring forth all of these things to make sure that you're not, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
So good. And how we're connected, you know, each body's so connected to the tangibility. And I liked how you broke each one down to dependent on each person, right? And like you said, the general outline for people on where they're at, and looking at the gratitude in their lives. I think it's this is such a high power topic in a world that definitely manifests negativity, um, in this world. So people are always kind of more on the negative side of how things are going. It is, I think, from my personal experience, rare to bring positivity or positive energy into different environments, whether it's a job, sometimes even with family. Like maybe you're making those different choices and your family's not so-called growing and changing, and you're kind of like a black sheep of the family. You're doing certain work and you're changing for your soul calling. And I just loved how you broke that down. Why so if viewers aren't, if viewers are viewing this today, Guru, and they're like, hey, like that was a great question you guys have asked us in terms of when was the last time someone was grateful? Why is it so important to have gratitude each and every day? And how do you have gratitude in your day to day? I could start first in terms of my thing's always waking up and having gratitude that I have another chance at this, and have another day of opportunities to grow and expand, to make impact for the collective, to be able to breathe in life and have those moments because we don't know when we're called, to transition or when our last breath is on the horizon. And so waking up, I always practice my gratitude in the early mornings that I wake up or waking up in general. Also throughout the day, I think recognizing moments of, I call them God whispers or God moments, where that was really cool to have a moment like that. I try to take some pause, whether I'm at work, with clients myself, with family, with friends, with loved ones, in environments where maybe I know a bunch of strangers and getting some feedback there. So I try to hit the pause button as much as possible to recognize moments, to call in gratitude, and also at the end of the day. So my sleeping routine is winding down, being grateful of things that have happened to me, whether, like you stated, whether it's so called positive or maybe something just didn't go my way. I couldn't get out of a certain mindset, or someone said something to me that maybe triggered me and, highlighted some more work I get to do. What are some ways that you practice gratitude? And then some of your clients, when they come to see you, what do they share about their gratitude?
So, what you're really talking about is a mindset issue. Uh, Moving into gratitude, it's about leaving victim consciousness and moving into mindful manifestation, as opposed to manifestation that's just going to happen because you're existing. So it's a conscious manifestation. It's an understanding of I think, therefore I am, and therefore I create. So otherwise, you're just kind of moving through life, and life is happening to you, as opposed to for you. Uh, so developing that awareness and understanding what your output is, what you're creating from the inside out, is so incredibly important. So a lot of people don't actually ever understand what their output is, what it looks like on the outside. People get shocked and they get jarred just by seeing themselves on video, or even hearing what their voices sound like on a recording. It's like, I said that, I did that. There's no way that
Mm.
was me, because they don't really see the output of all of their belief systems out here, where everyone else is only experiencing that. You're the only one that's actually experiencing your own consciousness. But as far as you had said, why is it important to create gratitude every day. So, but that's why. I mean, it's really about changing your mindset into something that is actually going to be effective for your life. So you can start creating the things that would make you happy, or at least deciding if you want to create the things that are going to make you happy. If you want to create things that are going to make you miserable, that's your choice. But at least you can do it mindfully. You can do it in a way of, hey, well, you know, if I do this, it's going to actually increase my happiness. It's going to take my stress away. But if I do that, then it's going to cause more stress, and there's going to be chaos. Which one do I want? So if some people enjoy chaos, and if they want to create that in their lives, that's their business. I personally don't like creating chaos. I would much prefer to create things that are loving and mindful and enjoyable. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just me, right? So, and I'm not going to judge somebody else if that's what they want to create. It's just because I don't enjoy it just doesn't mean somebody else wouldn't. So lots of people love that kind of thing. There's all kinds of games and rides and all kinds of things that actually promote people who enjoy chaos. You know, it supplicates them,
Mm-hmm.
which is their business. But anyway, the idea is to do it mindfully, as opposed to it just kind of being reactionary. So the value of gratitude, it takes you out of victim consciousness. It brings you to a clearer state of mind and being, and you know, you develop this awareness of what you're actually manifesting, as opposed to it just happening to you. I think that's why I think it's important.
Mm-hmm. You said a few key points. Go into the victim, getting out of the victim mindset. Kind of expand on that for our viewers first, and then I loved how you said the awareness of individuals and what they want to manifest. So, why do you think sometimes people go their whole day and they don't have those grateful moments or those gratitude moments? Um, they're why do you think some people are aware of those moments and some people are unaware of those moments?
Well, so if you're going through your day and it's not just kind of happening to you, then you haven't trained your mind to do it. And sometimes if it doesn't come naturally right off the get-go, it has to do with, it could have been how you were raised. It would have started probably at childhood at that point. If that's just who you are naturally, not automatically feeling happy or grateful for the things that you're creating. And then at one point you get to understand what's happening to your mind, what's happening to how your output and how you're creating the different things you're creating. If you're not creating the things that you want to create in a way that's effective for you, then you get to make changes and you get to retrain the mind. Or it's like a monkey in a kitchen throwing plates. A monkey in your kitchen can be your best friend and can be really, really helpful, but if you don't train the monkey, it's going to be very destructive. And that's what the
Mm-hmm.
mind has a tendency to do. So you get to retrain it, and so in this way, uh, being very mindful about what your output is, and how you're creating and manifesting things is key. So that's what I would say about that.
I like that. And go back to getting out of the victim mindset. Can you expand on that just for
Yeah.
some people that might not have caught that, or what does that mean on a little bit deeper level?
Yeah, sure. So victim mindset really, and if you've never heard that statement before, it's the poor me mentality. It's everything is going wrong. There's nothing I can do, and I'm going down. It's almost like I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. There's nothing I can do, and it's not there's it lacks being proactive. It lacks any kind of optimism. It's very pessimistic. It's uh, you know it's awful is what it is. It's awful. It's very damaging, not just to yourself, but to the people around you. It can actually be extremely destructive. So, but it's recognizing that you're doing it. It's recognizing that you're not uh, focusing on the solution, that you're focusing on the problem, and you're wanting to stay there. So, you know, if you're the type of person that is going up to people and saying, "Oh my God, my life sucks, and this is why," and that's all you talk about, and you're not realizing that you're not talking about the other stuff, then chances are you have a victim mindset,
Mm.
and it's about changing that into, how can I create possibilities here? How can I, overcome this obstacle, and let me focus on that. And let me talk about that with people instead. Like, hey, you know what? All this stuff happened, but this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Do you have any ideas? Because I want to keep going with this. So
Mm.
it's a very different mindset. One is being very proactive. Like, I'm in the middle of recreating this issue so that I can actually do something positive with this outcome. You're making a lemonade out of lemons, really, and because everyone gets into a position at one point where they get into tough spots all the time,
Mhm.
and it's really how you deal with your position that is really important. So if you're the type of person that just crashes and said, "Oh no, my whole life is over," and "Oh, let's talk about how my whole life is over," and "You tell me how my whole life is over," and "Please, like, make me feel better about my life being over," and it's just, stop. It's not. It's just stop. Stop. Instead, changing it, and you get to actively change your mindset. It's not something that's going to happen to you. So if you're one of those people that goes through all that, or people that are doing it, it is a very, very active. Okay, I'm not going to think about it that way anymore. I'm going to force myself to think about it in a way where it's positive, and it's actually going to be creating something that I want to create instead. People who stay in victim mentality, I think they like it. You know,
Mm.
they might not admit it. They'll sit there and say, I don't. Why would I like that? Just kind of like I think I did a video called something about why people love pain, or why you love pain.
Mm.
uh, it's not because you consciously necessarily love pain. It's because there's a part of you that keeps creating it and is only focusing on that. So that part of you does, because otherwise, why would you keep creating it on purpose with your mind? You start
Mm.
changing your mindset and start changing your actions so that you can start creating things that are actually more effective, or in alignment with being happy instead. And then you travel along a different path. But the very first thing that gets to happen is awareness, and admitting to yourself what you're creating on the outside, and paying attention to the things that you're saying to people to know what kind of a person you are. I mean, if it'll take you recording yourself while you talk and listening back and being objective. I mean, if you're so far gone that you really can't see that you're being a victim, then somebody needs to pull you aside and give you the feedback, and you get to listen. So
That's so good, Guru, in terms of breaking that down. So we talk a lot about the landscape of one's life, and then also the landscape of the collective consciousness, or the collective in general. In terms of gratitude, what do you see through your experiences, like through your lens, in terms of gratitude of the collective consciousness? Do you think we have enough gratitude? Obviously, there's always room for improvement, but do you think there's more of the victim mindset out there in the collective consciousness, or more of a gratitude stance?
well, if we're looking at the entire landscape, we're definitely not quite. We're not in a society where we're functioning at a high level of consciousness overall. We're just not. There's the biggest things in the news right now are still so they're asinine. I mean, they're it's belligerently ignorant to intelligence a lot of the time. The types of and I'm not going to mention anything, because I'm not going to get into a debate later on with somebody over. Well, you thought this was stupid. I'm not going to do that. Uh, I'm not going there. I'm just going to basically blanket. Generally speaking, there are quite a few news articles out there that are talking about things that, as a human race, we should have been way beyond that by now in our consciousness and being able to figure it out. And watching it's a shit show. I mean, it's just a shit show. I don't usually swear on my channel, but I'm just gonna do it. Hope that's okay. So I really hope that we as a collective figure it out. But
Hmm.
you know, and I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm just doing my best to offer advice to people that maybe have never heard it before. You know, there's
Hmm.
definitely people out there that are much smarter than I am, or that
Hmm.
I will ever be. And I hope that they're doing similar things in their lives to support others. That's all I can hope, so that we can
Hmm.
maybe bring up the collective consciousness intelligence ratio as much as we can, so that we can start navigating our lives a little bit better, because what we're creating now is it's awful. Um, as far as how are we cultivating gratitude in a society, and doing it in a way that is effective, uh, you know, I think there's lots of people out there that do. They definitely they live in gratitude. Very, very few people live in 100% gratitude all the time. Very, 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 very few. And for those people who think they live in gratitude, they're barely scratching the surface, honestly, of the depth that you can go and experience gratitude and the way it affects your energetic body and your overall being. So, if
Hmm.
you think that you've reached a level of gratitude that makes sense for you, think again and dive deeper, because there's always farther to go down that rabbit hole. So, never stop and continue on your journey.
I love that. I think you bring up a good point about the destination versus the journey. I think so many times people are like, oh, it's, I made it, or like you said, oh, I'm aligned with my gratitude in my life. There's always layers, as you pointed out, to peel back even more on a deeper scale and discovery. I think discovery is so curious for people if they want to be open to that. Uh, I love when people say, I'm grateful for where I'm at right now. Touch on that, like in terms of your clients or how you see when people say that, is they're really acknowledging the gratitude of the present moment, I feel like. And they say it in a way of in their power and just like, hey, there's probably been a lot of things that have happened to me. I'm kind of thinking of my own life too. Is like, hey, I'm grateful for where I'm at right now, um, and things have gone great. Things have gone really poorly at times because of whatever I'm manifesting and whatever I'm creating. Talk a little bit about what you feel like when people say that is like, hey, I'm grateful for where I'm at in this present moment. Because I always love asking people is what are they excited about coming up? What's are they excited about on the horizon? And sometimes people are like, hey, I'm just happy where I'm at right now. I'm grateful for my life right now. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I always acknowledge that for people, and that I'm always super happy to hear that from people.
Yeah, you get to pivot. You get to really be thinking about it consciously every day, as opposed to uh, thinking about it 3 months ago, 5 months ago, 10 months ago, and then leaving it like, well, 10 months ago, this was my gratitude list. That's what I made. It shouldn't be like that. It should be something that you're focusing on the daily, and your list is going to change depending on what you're going through. So being in the present moment with why you're grateful for your life and going through it every single day is so important. It's not something that you can just put in a box and shelf. It gets to be an active participant going on in your mind. It gets to be a part of your world all the time. And once you really do that and you let it ingratiate in the way that makes sense for your consciousness, then it's going to positively impact your life. You're going to be able to manifest things that make you happy much easier, as opposed to continuing to manifest, the crap that maybe is landing on your plate. So, and the worst part about when people get hit with tough times, I mean, obviously you're going to be thinking about that. You're going to be working through the problem. You're going to be feeling a certain way. You get to honor all of those things, of course. And at one point, you get to find the gratitude in the situation is teaching you, of course, as well. But it's also about focusing on the solutions the best you can during those moments. instead of just sitting in the problem and manifesting more of it. Because sometimes, and that's why a lot of people will continue to spiral downwards, and they won't know, but they're masterfully, there, I got it,
Got it.
manifesting, their energetic output is, like, especially if it's really traumatic, and you're on a downward spiral big time. uh,
Mhm.
if there's a lot of emotions there, it's going to add fuel to the fire to your manifestation. So a positive, negative, it doesn't matter if your emotional output is huge, it really does add to your manifestation. So if you're
Mhm.
focusing on the problem and you're not focusing on the solution the whole time, and you're in that spiral, chances are you're going to keep going for a while, depending on your
Mhm.
output. So you got to be careful of that. But
Mhm.
anyway, so yeah, in the present moment, making sure that you're um, keeping your list of the current things you get to be grateful for, and it might be moment to moment basis. You might be walking down the street and saying, "I am so grateful that that just happened to me now because," you know, as opposed
Mhm.
to shelving it. I think that's really important.
Mhm. Sure, because I know it's helped me, and I know with other clients as well. Like, explain a little bit about how you give some. I don't want to say assignments, but like practices is like the gratitude walk, and how that's impacted a lot of your clients in a
Sure.
daily practice that they could apply.
Yeah, yeah. So the gratitude walk, it's a so we talked earlier in this episode about how there are three different levels of gratitude that should be considered. So when you're going on your gratitude walk, and it should start with some breath work, a mantra that makes sense for you. So if you're for a lot of people nowadays, a great mantra is "I am safe." I'm a magical manifester for the positive, or I'm resourceful.
Mhm.
I always have the resources, that kind of thing. And then moving on to gratitude, the three levels of gratitude, which is being listing the things that are mundane. I'm grateful for a toothpaste today because otherwise my mouth would taste terrible. And I wouldn't get all that food off my teeth. I'm grateful for sleeping in a bed that's comfortable, or not even comfortable, just being able to sleep in a bed at all. And then moving on into the more obvious things that you feel happy about, like, oh my god, thank god for my car, thank god for my relationship, thank god for my sister, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And give the reason why. And then the last part, which is again one of the most important parts, would be the being grateful for the things that are hard, and really digging into it. Find what the blessing is in your situation. Find it, and then do your best to forgive and let go of anything extra energetically, so that when you do move on, it'll be a clean break and you'll be able to manifest the things that make you happy much quicker. So it's really
Mhm.
important. So there's that. And then the last part of this walk, I think it's really important to engage in a visualization of something that you want to manifest. That's a decent sized goal. So if it's about getting a book deal, maybe it's manifesting, or thinking about all of the details, using all of your senses, what it looks like, what it smells like, what you're wearing, what the day looks like. Are you on stage? Are you presenting your book? It could be anything, but it can't. I guess I mentioned that goal because it's a decent accomplishment. It's not the president of the United States, right? It isn't. Hey, today I want to be able to, go to the gym. I'm talking
Mhm.
a decent size, somewhere in the middle,
Mhm.
that's nice and beefy, but it's not way, way, way maybe out of touch. So,
Mhm.
and then just so that your your unconscious mind and your spirit have something to work on, something to bring forth. So if you never spend any time thinking about these types of thoughts or dreams or the different types of things you feel that will make you happy, then how are they ever going to have a chance to manifest it for you? you're never going to have a chance. So those three parts to the walk are really important: letting
Mhm.
go, being grateful, and manifestation, intentional manifestation.
So good, Guru. I love those walks, and also too the layer of being out in nature is the highest form of creativity. So when we're doing those walks, I know for myself it's even more powerful. You're looking at nature, you're looking at the possibility of what's possible. I read something recently is people don't lack motivation, they lack vision. So I liked how you said that last part is vision yourself in a goal of yours, um, and one that's substantial, right? Being having a book or being on stage or and we always think like the vision has to be some grand thing. It could be month to month, it could be a week thing, but really expanding on top of a daily thing, like going to the gym. That's not casting a vision. That's one of a micro goals that we've talked about in prior episodes, but I love the vision aspect. You have helped me on that vision aspect of that part of the gratitude, and I think that's the most important part. Obviously, the lead up part and being recognizing those special moments, but the vision part is huge. So I'm excited for everyone viewing to try that out. I would love to hear some feedback um, on the comments below on how that's going for you. Gratitude. So, Guru, gratitude has power. As you brought up, gratitude in the spiritual world has a lot of power. It's been around, for so long. And when people say, I'm grateful for, why is the word grateful so powerful energetically?
Mm. Well, it's understanding that it's understanding it's feeling blessed about who you are and what you're creating in this moment, and being here is such a huge blessing. So it's almost remembering something very ancient, honestly. uh, Part of the reason why we're all here is to enjoy this place and everything that we can create while we're here. So when you're grateful and you're sitting in gratitude, not only are you letting go of all your anger and your resentment, not only are you letting go of all your small stories and all the things that are going to tie you down into something that will give you a negative experience, but you're also remembering something that's really important, that being here is such a huge blessing. And the experience of being in a body and being able to touch things that are, things that are tactile, and to speak and to think and to have these experiences on the level of the absolute, it's not like this. This is a very, very unique experience. Because as soon as you move up to the level of the absolute, all of the stories disappear. It's no longer about story time like we're creating here. This is all stories. This is all manifesting interesting and phenomenal and sad and happy and everything in between stories about what's happening here. They all disappear. None of them have any meaning once you hit that level. They don't exist. And so once you pass on from this place, you're not going to be able to have this experience anymore. You're not going to be able to resonate in this level anymore. While yeah, it's true. As soon as you go back to, you split off into your many different pieces when you pass away and you let go of your physical body. A part of your conscious, like there's different parts of your consciousness that will do different things, but the part of your consciousness that is timeless, is not of time, will not be sitting in these stories anymore. It's just not how it operates. So so this experience for that reason is a blessing. So and that's the whole point of going into this existence. So it is remembering all of those things. I probably spoke too long about that, but I hope I got the point across.
No, it was really good. I love it. I think it's important in terms of expanding on that. When people are more grateful on their life, why do you think people are, I guess, more happier, more, I like the word joyful more? when people are more full of gratitude, why are they more joyful?
Yeah, it takes you out of victim consciousness. It takes you out of the misery of human existence. It dumps all of the anger and resentment and hate and all of the stories that are causing you to feel misery. It's the opposite. It's feeling happy about everything that you have in this moment, even if it's not, uh, you know, idolized or perfect in a way that, might be out of reach in this moment. It's just about accepting the present moment and loving it exactly for what it is and being good with it, feeling good about it. So, yeah, you're going to feel happy. You're going to feel complete right now, as opposed to reaching for a completion that might not ever come because you might not ever allow yourself to be happy. You might not ever feel like you deserve happiness. So instead of living in that state all of the time and constantly reaching for something that might not ever come, you simply do it now. You accept it now. You love yourself and this moment now. So that's what gratitude is really all about. And it does, it takes away pain and suffering, and it takes away, it just takes away that the perception that everything sucks. It puts you into a place of everything's perfect. I love it just the way it is.
Mm, so good. And in terms of valley moments or tragedy
Wow.
with with people, and like the valley moments of like the lowest of the lows, why is it important, would you say, that people still find that gratitude? So like if something has happened, maybe someone viewing this is going through a real difficult time right now, why is it important to still um, have that gratitude mindset?
Oh my gosh. Well, it pulls you out very quickly. So if you're within that space, it's more than ever it's important to get in there and discover gratitude and gratefulness. It is a tool that will pull you out of that space and bring you into a space of I can deal with this, I can handle this. So it is it's the one thing that'll really 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 support if you can change your mindset around it, because part of why people suffer,
Mhm.
I mean, the perception that people put themselves through when rough times happen is the one thing that causes the problem, right? So if you change your perception of the situation to the point where you feel gratitude and you're sitting in that space, then it's going to be a more zen experience, and you're going to be able to handle things that might not make sense to a lot of people. Like, hey, so and so just died, and this person, and there was an accident, and this person just had a bunch of injuries, and they're okay. Why are they okay? Why aren't they suffering like the rest of us? Well, it's because they live in gratitude. It's you don't have to live on this planet and suffer in your mind. You don't have to. You don't have
Mhm.
to. It is a choice to do it. Meaning, if you're not choosing to be proactive and start changing your perception into something that is going to be more effective, then you're choosing something else automatically by default, which is choosing to stay in the crud and to wallow in the mud and to play in the negativity of existence. And it's heavy and it's difficult, and it makes people feel sick, because at the core of who we are, we're love. And so if we decide to play in that arena, we're not going to feel well. It's going to make us physically ill, mentally ill, emotionally ill, physically, everything. We're going to feel like we're going to die, because it will be an energy that we're creating that can kill us, because it's the
Mhm.
opposite of who we are. So, of course. So, gratitude brings us closer to who we are authentically at the core of our being, which is why it is so important, to go to that place so that we can remember who we are and we can live in a place of nirvana as opposed to hell. So, it really is the difference between the two, choosing gratitude and choosing, to not be grateful about anything.
Mhm. And I think majority of times people forget. I loved how you brought up choosing. We get to choose, like you brought up earlier, we choose the victim mindset, we choose gratitude, and we do have that free will to choose certain things to manifest and bring in. In regards to a call to action, I loved how you brought up uh, the gratitude walk. Is there any other tools for our viewers that can practice gratitude today, or that you recommend to your clients as an easy gateway to start living a life more full of gratitude?
Yeah, the very first thing I would recommend is to start paying attention to your output, and to, because that is the one thing that is going to uh, start opening your eyes as to what you are actually creating. You get to be accountable for what you're creating, and stop pointing the finger at everyone else and saying it's their fault. You are the master of your own domain. You are creating your life, and you're creating a very specific output. So, in order for you to start acknowledging what that output is, you get to be aware of what you're manifesting on the outside. How are people reacting to you? How are you, how is your state of being affecting people? Are you creating positive outcomes or negative ones with people? I mean, just you get to start paying attention to what you're actually doing and being accountable for them, saying, I'm accountable for this situation because I'm accountable for that situation because. And if you don't start doing that, you're never going to be aware of who you are, what you're creating. And if you're not aware of it, you can't change it. So
Mm.
the very first step would be awareness. You can't skip that one. So, as far as giving you an exercise or a tool, I mean, I can't even get to the exercises until you're aware of what you're creating. So, the very first thing is that you get to start becoming aware of what you're manifesting on the outside, and understand that the manifestation on the outside is a perfect reflection of how you're feeling about yourself on the inside. So,
So good, Guru. I love that. So just want to say thank you to everyone that viewed this episode. We appreciate you. Would love to hear from you on the comments below on how you're practicing your gratitude, how it aligns with your lifestyle and what you're doing, or what you're implementing more and integrating from this episode. So just want to thank you. We don't do any commercials or things of that nature. All we ask is, share this with someone you love, share this with a stranger, and I'll pass it over to Guru on where you could find her, more of her things, more community events, and things of that nature.
I love you so much, John. I just want you to know that it's so funny that we do this. We did this on gratitude today, and I wanted to express my gratitude to you and how incredible you being in my life has been and how impactful it's been. I think about it all the time, and I just want you to know that I think you're phenomenal, and I really love what you're creating in your life. So thank you so much for producing positive outcomes in people's lives. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Guru. I appreciate you so much. And I'm actually, you guys, out here in the desert, taking some time away from. I was joking with Guru offline, is from civilization to reflect. Just want to thank you, Guru. Full gratitude on helping me through my journey and having so many breakthroughs. And I always say it's only the start to an incredible journey. You've seen me grow so much. You've been a huge part of my transformation, and being one of your students and learning under you, and being able to let the light out even more from me on a collective consciousness. So I appreciate you and full of gratitude for you. So love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you. Yay. Okay, so everyone, I'm grateful for everyone that watches, and please, more than anything, all we want to do is support you with your stuff. So if there is something going on in your life that you have burning questions, please just let us know what they are so that we can talk about them on our next episode, so we can support you, because that's what really it's all about. We're doing our best to pay it forward, and that's what this life should all be about, is really just loving each other, and seeing what we can do for each other in that way. So please let me support you. Please reach out, and I can't wait to serve you. So I love you all. You can do it in the comments. My email is also available on my YouTube page. So anyway, I love you guys. We will see you next week. I do have another live tomorrow. So if you're watching this live, then hopefully you'll tune in tomorrow. If not, if you're watching it in a recording, see you in the next one. Bye. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Take care.